Alrighty, so I am here with...
Amanda Sorensen, Pro Spec driver for United States Air Force.
That's wild. How did you get here? Like one day you just woke up and you're like, I'm gonna be a Formula Drift driver? Or like, what's the story of Amanda just showing up here?
I have a long background in motorsports.
Okay.
I had originally started doing off-road racing, which I still do now. I actually race for GMC and Chip Ganassi around the world in Extreme E. But also in 2017, I had the opportunity to drift a car. And my brother Brandon Sorensen, he's a pro driver, he fell in love with it.
Okay.
Me, not so much. But let me tell you, once they gave me 600 horsepower, it was game over. I was like obsessed.
I love the honesty about that. So you've been in different motorsports then. Drifting's not the only thing that you do. Unlike, I think, some of the guys out here, right? Most of them just do drifting. What's the biggest difference between all the motorsport types?
I would say the competition, the mindset going into the actual race and the strategies behind it.
Okay. And like when you look at drifting in comparison, maybe like off-road racing, and maybe you said you do Formula E?
It's called Extreme E, so it was founded by the same person as Formula E, Alejandro. It's Formula E but on wheels, so on dirt. It's all-wheel drive electric rally cars.
Okay. So how would you explain it to me like I'm 5? What's the biggest difference between the two motorsport types in your opinion?
Judge-based versus first person to the finish line.
Gotcha. Is there one you prefer?
No comment.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so explain to me, you're in Pro Spec, there's Pro. Outside of the fact that I get those two confused sometimes, a lot of people that I talk to that are outside of the space, they also get a little bit confused because Pro Spec almost has more rules than Pro. So in your opinion, when you look at Pro Spec with where you're at right now and Pro, what do you think is the biggest difference between the two groups?
Talent, period, 100%. However, from an outside perspective, you would definitely see the talent separation, but looking in on the inside, Pro Spec is a spec class. So we're on a spec tire, it's a GT Radial 255, and there's also a lot of rules about the car. So we have a lot of different tech regulations than Pro does. Pro's very unlimited to what they want.
Yeah, because I remember, I think it's the steering rack, right? It has to be an OEM steering rack for the Pro Spec, whereas if you get into Pro, you can kind of play around with that a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly, and the pedal box, there's a few more.
Yeah. So what was the first car you started drifting in?
E46 stock BMW.
And then what are you drifting now?
It's still an E46 BMW my brother and I built. It's got an comp cams, RHS block, LS3 under the hood with a 3.0 Whipple supercharger. So we're putting out around like 900, and I could tune it up to like 1200 with a bigger pulley.
All right, that's really cool. Okay, so explain to me then, you're doing the Pro Spec, you're doing, I'm gonna get it wrong, I'm not gonna get it wrong, not Formula E, Extreme E, right now at the same time. Is there any motorsport type that you wanna get into?
Nitro Cross. Travis Pastrana's new rallycross, and I am obsessed with it.
Explain it to me.
It is a mixture of drifting, short course, and off-road, all in one. It is an electric rally car, and you're hitting jumps, going into turns, 4 wide, so there's a lot that goes into it. It would be like drifting, because you kind of have your tandem, that's your door-to-door action, and then also the difference between, now we're taking these rally cars on grip and dirt, which is similar to taking the drift car on the grip stuff, and then for dirt stuff it's like Extreme E. So there's a lot of like things that go hand in hand. It's literally like my perfect world.
It reminds me of like a video game almost, because you're doing a bunch of different stuff in the same track, and then you're also competing against other people at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. So there's usually 5 to 10 cars on the track.
That's wild. All right, so explain to me this real quick. You're in Formula Drift, you're in the Pro Spec stuff, you're doing all the other motorsport types. Did you ever think that you'd actually be here? And if not, like if you weren't here right now, what would you be doing?
Well, I never thought I'd be here for one. Formula Drift was something that my brother and I kind of like watched from afar when we were younger growing up. Honestly, it's crazy because I remember enrolling into college classes being like, oh, motorsports is a hobby.
Yeah.
I'll never turn it into a career.
Yeah.
And
here we are.
I think the social media really took off, and it was like one of those things where as much as you think you're in charge of your life plan, like you're really not.
Yeah, it's more about like the opportunities that come in front of you and like choosing to take it or choosing to not take the opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would say going into 2021, we had this huge opportunity with the Air Force, and Brandon and I in January weren't even thinking we were gonna drift. The cars were covered, not prepped, and we were like, Air Force had approached us, and it was definitely a huge learning curve because it was Brandon stepping up into Pro. That means 8 rounds for him, 4 rounds for me. More traveling, more money. There was a lot that went into it, and it was definitely a huge risk that we took, but I'm glad we're still learning lessons. There's so many things you don't even think of, like finding a tire in the middle of Virginia at 2 a.m. in the morning, right? And you're driving a semi. So there's a lot of cool life opportunities that have came with it, and I'm super stoked. Never thought I'd be here, but I'm glad I pursued the dream.
That's super cool. I think what's always so wild to me, especially when I look at Formula Drift, is how even at its highest level of being here, right? Formula Drift is like the top echelon of it here in the States. It's still so grounded. You know, you still have such open pits. You still have people being able to come up and talk to the drivers. You still have a lot of interaction that I'd see in some other motorsports, right? You don't really get. Like I was at Le Mans last weekend. You don't necessarily get a chance to just go up to the driver and like, hey, how are you? What's your favorite thing? Are you excited to be here? All that sort of stuff. They're mostly closed off. You know, as you look to the next 3 to 5 years, where does Amanda Sorensen want to be in the whole motorsport world?
I would just say having fun, honestly. Like, I enjoy driving. There's a lot that goes into it on the business side that I really enjoy.
What's your favorite part of the business side? Because I'm a big old nerd about it.
It's like, how do you take yourself and grow a platform, right? I'm almost at 1 million on both social media platforms, and it's like so close, you know, and that's kind of an addicting part.
It is a fun thing to do because I've been in social media for like 7 years now, and then we've done it for businesses, we've done it for myself, all that sort of stuff, and it does feel good when you start to see the stuff work and grow and all that sort of good stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely, because you know those edits they're definitely time consuming. It's a whole second job.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
it's definitely a lot.
All right, we're gonna walk through. I'm gonna do like a little power round of questions. We're going back to car related stuff, okay? What is the most overrated drift car that you've seen? Like what's one that you're like, no, not worth it?
No comment.
No comment. Are you only gonna drift BMWs for the rest of your life?
I mean, unless another opportunity presents itself.
What would you say is like the #1 tip for somebody getting into drifting?
Go to your local drift events. Talk to the local drifters. Talk to everyone. I feel like sometimes people get really shy. Even like, I mean, nobody even really comes up to me because I'm kind of intimidating, but ask me anything, I'll tell you. You know, what tire pressure am I running? I'll tell you, I'll give you some advice, tell you how to set up the car. A lot of these drivers are very open books once you ask, so I think just showing up to the local events and talking to them is a good idea.
Amanda won't tell me what car she thinks is overrated though, so that's because of you, by the way. So when I get off this camera, I'm gonna ask the question again. What, in your opinion, is the next biggest like upcoming motorsport type?
Nitro Cross.
You think so?
Oh, totally. Travis Pastrana's behind it. Dana White, who owns UFC. There's a lot of big names there. And, I mean, we just seen Connor Daly have his debut last weekend. So an IndyCar driver hopping into a rallycross car, like, that was pretty cool. I don't know, it's more of an entertainment. And I think that's kind of up and coming as well as drifting. Like, I think you're going to see rallycross and drift kind of take over, and then, you know, NASCAR might fall off.
I mean, obviously, you kind of have this massive platform. A lot of people know you. I feel like you inspire a lot of up-and-coming drivers, both male and female, which I think is really important. But what's one thing that, like, maybe people don't really know about you? Something you really enjoy on the side, a hobby, an activity, or maybe something people don't know about Amanda Sorensen?
I used to competitively figure skate from, like, the age of 8 to 18. I mean, I still go to the rink every once in a while, and the tricks are all still there. It's just, obviously, with skating, once you get to a level, there's so much time that you have to put into it. So it was kind of a choice of driving or skating, and we chose this route.
That's super cool. Anything else you'd like to share with the old World Wide Web?
I don't know. I just feel like hard work pays off.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of people don't see the work that my brother and I have put in. Because there's a lot of those times where we didn't really share that part. It was more of like the journey and like kind of living through it. But like we ran this semi into a bridge in the middle of New York, like trying to get to Massachusetts to go dyno the car. Like there's just so much that went into it, and like blowing an airbag on the semi. Like there's just so much that goes into it, as well as like from the marketing side that I do and the car side that Brandon does. There's
Why don't you think people see that side? Do you think it's because they don't want to? Is it because you don't show it? Like why do you think that is?
Brandon and I just never pick up the camera sometimes, and it's bad. I mean, like I want to do YouTube sometimes, but it's like so time consuming, and sometimes you'd rather just focus on driving.
Yeah.
So we definitely share it through the Instagram stories, but from an outside looking in without diving into it a little bit, you don't realize there's a lot of things that a lot of effort that we put into this program.
That's super cool. Well, I appreciate all the time, Amanda. I've been holding onto this stick for too long. I mean, these little tiny arms are tired of holding onto it. So, if you guys want to go learn a little bit more about Amanda, where can they find you?
Instagram is Amanda.Sorensen12. TikTok is Amanda_Sorensen. And, you know, if you just look up my name, my Wikipedia lies and it says I'm 37, I'm 20. I don't know why it keeps changing, but You can find me on the internet.
Every single time I go to Wikipedia, it asks me to donate money, and for the 29th year of it asking, I finally donated $2. So I consider myself an active contributor of Wikipedia. Amanda, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, bye.